Roquefort Therapeutics is an LSE Main Market listed biotech company developing oncology treatments in what the company says is a high value and high growth segment of the market prior to partnering or selling to big pharma. Ajan, Reginald is the chief executive and joins us now. Welcome.
Well, hi, good evening.
I think the best thing to start this interview is to talk about the business model because I'm interested in this because we've spoken pre-interview about what you're doing, but I think it's the best way to get into this.
Sure.
Explain more about what's going on.
Yes, absolutely. So small biotech companies tend to have deep expertise in one particular technology area. In our case, we're looking at gene and cell therapies in this area called Midkine. It's an area where we have world-class expertise, probably deeper expertise than any other company, even large pharma companies. So our role is to take this early innovation, these great ideas from world-class scientists and convert them into candidate medicines. The normal path then for a biotech company is to partner those medicines for clinical trials with big pharma companies. And that small company then gets a lot of value for that and creates value for its shareholders through the upfront payments, through the milestone payments, or by selling the drug or the company.
In this case, are you into selling individual drugs to big pharma, or are you going to be looking to sell the entire business? What's your exit?
Yeah, I think we're open-minded. I think as we were talking about, my background is a deal maker. I was the M&A director at Roche. I've done licensing deals, I've done acquisition deals. I think we're open-minded. We care deeply about trying to help patients with these very difficult to treat cancers. Our job is to accelerate development of these cancers, but we're equally cognizant of the fact that big pharma is probably best placed to take them at a certain stage. What's good for patients is also good for investors, because the optimal place for us to hand over them is also the optimal place for value creation for shareholders.
You have a lot of collaborations going, don't you, along the way, is that right? So you've got a lot of partnering companies in this business.
Yeah, absolutely. So our existing collaborations are with universities, but yes, there are lots of big pharma companies whose business, the big pharma business model is to partner, to license with small companies like ours. Absolutely. Yes.
The reason why I ask that is because presumably you have to establish the fact that ultimately whatever it is you're collaborating on will ultimately get sold.
Yes.
Because their ultimate aim may be different from yours.
Yes, so their aim is to take the medicine to market to help patients like us. They might have a different market, so in Japan it will be slightly different to how you might do it in the UK versus Europe. But I've got deal experience, I've done deals in Japan, in China, in Europe, in the US, absolutely.
You've got a market cap of 9.6 million at the moment. The market is depressed,
yes.
It has to be said, and I think pretty much every single company has seen share prices come off. How do you rate the value of a company like Roquefort?
Currently it's completely disconnected to the market cap, of course. Yeah, I mean, there's some very good market comparisons. So there's a lot of data that shows the average valuations for companies like ours between 2005 and 2020. And that's the average valuation for the acquisition of a company like ours, which was in excess of $50 million.
So the next question has to be, in this depressed market, are you more vulnerable to takeover?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think the key issue for us is that we, as you said, we have deep expertise in the field. We understand the long-term value creation. A lot of the management and the board are shareholders, and we're very committed to reaching that optimal value inflection point. So I think yes, of course, we're a public company, so of course we would be open to, we'd have to consider offers, but I think we also understand the medium-term value. We're not talking about years away, we're talking about value inflection points in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. Which would significantly increase the value of the company. Okay,
what is it you're going to be doing until you get taken over? What is your primary objective at the moment? You're obviously undertaking a lot of research into various areas. What's your priority?
So drug development is very structured. There are defined milestones that you reach, which is to demonstrate that the drug works in validated models. That gives everyone confidence that the medicine is working until you get into human trials. And that's what we're doing. We announced some data a couple of days ago. We have data announcements planned every 3 months at least. And those are all value increasing milestones.
So you undertake a lot of research quite costly. To what degree are you funded?
Yeah, so we're developing medicines, and we're taking them through, as I mentioned, increasing milestones. We publish the data from those milestones. Typically, when you publish that data, that's how big pharma and other companies engage with you. But we also have our network. As I mentioned, we've been in this area for 20 years. We know most of the deal makers, so we engage with them regularly anyway. But we're in the position where we're fully funded through development. So we're fully funded to a point where we can get the drugs to the point where we believe that they would be most amenable to partnering.
And at that point, if you're not ready to sell on, you'll just carry on doing what you're doing and working with new treatment opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think once we get to a point where we're ready to go into human trials, the increase in value of the product is so significant that yes, you have lots of different options at that point. You could license just for one jurisdiction, which I've done before. You could license just for Japan, and then you could develop in Europe yourself. You could sell the drug. It may be that the company is very appealing at that point for a full acquisition. Yes.
Okay. So where do you go from here? What are the opportunities as you see them?
From here, it's about delivering results. So for us, as I mentioned, we announced some data this week. We'll be announcing data at the end of December, again in Q1, and each of those is a value increasing milestone, which shows that our medicine is getting closer to that point where it could enter human studies and has a significant increase in value. And with each of these public announcements that we make, we're getting more and more interest from potential partners.
Okay, so you're not concerned with the share price at all. It's purely about the end value of the business when you get to the final stage.
Yeah, I mean, I think the share price is a perfect storm. The UK is not an ideal place to be a biotech company, plus the UK market is depressed, plus biotech is depressed, plus we have geopolitics, which is influencing everything. So I think we have to be cognizant of the fact that this is what's going on. Of course, I care about the share price. I'm one of the biggest investors myself.
Right.
I put in nearly £200,000 at a 14p valuation. So I'm very much trying to
feel the pain.
Well, I'm trying to act with the shareholders. I'm a fellow shareholder. So I genuinely believe, and I have data to support the fact that our value should be significantly higher. I think the key thing we've got to do is generate the results, which will value us independent of the market that we're on. Ultimately, biotech assets products are global products, so it actually doesn't really matter if you're on the UK market or the US market or any other market. It's what your potential partner will pay for in the future. We know who those partners are. We know what the average price is. There's always significant competition for valuable assets. So that is the market that we're really playing in.
Yeah, fascinating story and interesting business model. Thanks indeed for joining us. Ajan Reginald, the Chief Executive of Roquefort Therapeutics. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.